Hi, fourth grade. It's Mrs. Boswell again with Module 6, Lesson 5. And you're going to be wanting to use the Lesson 5 template because it's really going to help us today. And we'll use both the front and the back side as we do these. Okay. The goal today is to model the equivalence of tenths and hundredths using the area model and our place value discs. We're not going to spend a lot of time in the area models. I just want to kind of show it to you so you understand it. What we'll really focus on is those place value discs that will really help us kind of break it down, kind of expand it like we did in lesson 3. So here we go. We're going to start with this. It says we can show the equivalence of 10 hundredths and 1/10 in the same way we showed the equivalence of 2/4 and 1/2 by using division. Okay, so I want to show you. Okay. It says shade 1/10 of the first area model. Okay, so we're going to shade, so these are broken down into tenths. Okay, and I'm going to just shade in 1. Right, so here I have it all shaded in, right? And that would be represented by 1/10, or as you would like to write it as 0.1. Okay, but over here, this area model is broken down into hundredths. Okay, and if I shade in these 10, okay, how many cubes did I shade in? I shaded in 10, and they're broken down into hundredths, right? So that's 10 hundredths, okay, which would represent 0.01. I'm so sorry, my brain, I'm sorry, it's 0.10 because that's tenths, okay? So what if I changed it up, okay, and I wanted to show 3/10 is also the same as 30 hundredths, okay? So if I did this, so I went 3 hundredths, or 3/10, okay, and 3 hundredths, okay? How can I represent that? Okay, so where would I show 3/10? Would I do that on the tens or the hundreds? Obviously, I'm going to do it on the hundreds. So I'm going to color in 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and that would give me 3/10 or 0.3. Okay. Or if I colored in 3 hundredths over here, 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry, it would be 30 hundredths. Come on, Mrs. Boswell. So I would have 30 hundredths, right? Or 0.30. All I add to kind of do that hundredths is if you notice, this is 0.1, this is 0.10, 0.3, 0.30. That's how I know that they're equivalent, because if I just took that 0 away, that's the same as 0.3, 0.3. If I put this 0 away, it's 0.1, 0.1. So that's how I know they are equivalent. I'm covering in exactly the same space, even though one is tenths and one is in hundredths. Okay, so let's see. So I know that these are equivalent fractions, which everybody we know are equal to each other. I know that 1/10 is equal to 10 1/100ths. Okay. I also know that 3/10 is equivalent or equal to 3/30 1/100ths. Okay, so that's our equivalent fraction. Now we're going to switch it over now, and we're going to use our place value discs. Okay. All right. And we're going to compose and decompose our numbers today. So let's see. If I had 1/10 and 6 hundredths, okay, how would I write that in place value disc? Well, I remember that the place value disc for tenths, so tenths looks like this, 0.1, right? And then I know that hundredths would be 0.01 because that's hundredths. So I've got tenths and hundredths. So I want to model that, okay, with this. I want 1/10 and 6/100, right? So I'm going to model that, okay? And let's go ahead and model it down here. So how many tenths do I need? I just need 0.1 okay? But how many hundredths do I need? If you said 6, you're correct. I would need 6. So I would need 0.01, 0.01. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so I got my 6/100 and I have my 1/10 right here, right? So I'm going to say, if I put that in fraction, I'm going to do 1/10, okay, times 1/10, okay, or 0.1 times 0.1, okay, plus, so I can show this in fraction or so I can show my mixed numbers or my fractions, okay, and this one I'm going to take 1/100th times how many? 6/100, okay, times 6, okay, which would give me 6/100, okay, or I could say 0.01, oops, sorry, times 0.06, all right, then I break it down, 0.1 times 0.1 is 0.1, plus 0.01 times 0.06 is 0.06, right? And then if I add those together, they add up to be 0.16 or 16th hundredths, okay? But if I broke that down, because we are going to do that number bond and kind of show us again how many this one is in my tenth, so I have 1/10, because remember this is my 10th place value, okay? And this one is my hundredths, okay? So this would have to be 6/100, and 1/10 plus 6/100 is 16th hundredths, or 0.16. Okay, let's do that with another one. Let's do this. Let's do 25/100. Okay, let's take that and break it down into our discs. Okay, so I already know that I've got 2/10 and 5/100, right? If I really break that down, okay, or I could also write this as 0.25 and then break it down again, 2/10, 5/100, okay? But if I want to represent that in our discs, okay, I'm going to need how many tenths? 2, so 0.1, 0.1, okay, so there's 2/10, or 0.2, right? And then if I have the 5/100, okay, so I'm going to go 0.01, 0.01, 0.01, 0.01, okay, and 0.01, right, which equals 5/100, okay, or 0.05. And then if I add up these two numbers, 0.2 plus 0.05, it equals 0.25, okay, or 25 hundredths. So this is what you're going to be doing on your exit ticket today. All right. Remember, post a picture of your notes when you are finished and put it on Seesaw.